Handbrake turn is perfectly acceptable way to stop Hornet. With my setup, it was just a matter of time before I'm going to get into DCS. In this video, I'm going to make a hot start with Hornet and just a quick test flight. Just talking about what I have around here and also my future plans for my setup, because I really have some interesting plans in my mind. As you might see, nothing is at the moment right place. The joystick on the right side should be centered, the landing gear level is on the right side, but that's just temporary because I'm currently building completely new cockpit, and if that's actually something that interests you, you should really check out my series. I already have 4 episodes and it should be ready by the end of this year, so that will help with that sort of stuff. But let's get this thing here. I think we might need some sort of flaps, I'm not sure. Just kind of a word of warning, because I don't know really anything yet. I'm just this is just going to be a quick test flight, and I don't know the right procedures and stuff like that. I know that I can get this thing in the air, so flap seems to be logical. Let's just hit the throttle full and we're off. Okay, landing gear up. Let's get the flaps down and get into the air. So I'm just going to, and the afterburner, I guess, off. Really need the throttle with the detents for this one. Okay, first thing you might see is that I actually have a Tobii eye tracker here. This is sort of a limbo situation that I'm currently in, because my dream is to build a full at least 270-degree widescreen and 3 projectors around me, but that's for the future. And no, I'm not going for the VR, because I really enjoy the physical stuff and building stuff for this, so that's why I have this one. This setup isn't enough that I could look at every direction, so I need something like Tobii eye tracker, but I have just configured some dead zones to it, so I don't know if this is going to be a good setup or not, but that's something I'll have to just keep improving here. Otherwise, my setup for my joysticks, I have the verbal stuff here for now, so I'm actually using joystick trembling and funneling everything through 4 virtual joysticks. That seems to work for me. I have set up some stuff, but not everything, but should be able to fly around here. So let's just get a bit lower and see how this thing flies. Also, as you might have noticed, I have the Helios on my smaller display here and below, and Captain Scene's profile. That's working for me now, but naturally this display is a bit too narrow, or it's not tall enough, but that's going to be fixed with my new setup. And I'm not going to get a touchscreen. That's one of the things that for my future setup I'm planning to do, is that I really, like I mentioned, I really enjoy building this stuff. I really enjoy the physical controls, so my future cockpit will be modular. I want to play Star Citizen with it. I'm going to make Star Citizen videos too in the future, but I want to make it work with the DCS too. So that's why my plan for it is that I'm going to have kind of different modules for it. So let's say, for example, I have some kind of plywood overlay for the dashboard here, and well, I'm going to take some shortcuts like using Thrustmaster Cougar MFDs at the beginning, but kind of physical overlay here, got the holes for the dash of all the kind of steam gauges, MFDs, and build physical controls for everything. Then I'm going to have some sort of slots on both sides where I can just drop in different modules. So my plan is for the next year or the spring that I am going to build all the controls that I would have in the Hornet as physical controls. It won't be a one-to-one copy, but it will be kind of all the right stuff in so much right places, and I want to play kind of with full physical control, so I wouldn't need to use touchscreens at any point. I'm not sure how it's going to work, but that's also something I'm going to make videos out of, me building that stuff. I'd say the Tobii eye tracker is working quite nicely. There's naturally, if you look closely, there's some issues with the kind of stuff going a bit different directions. That's something I need to fix for the future, but for now this setup is good enough for me, and everything seems to be working quite nicely. For my videos in the future, I'm kind of planning to make videos something like 15 minutes. So the first we're just kind of just flying around with this plane, and next video will be most likely just kind of learning the cold start and takeoff and landing procedures in the correct way. And in the future, I'm just going to learn new stuff, make interesting videos. I'm aiming normally something like 10 to 15 minute videos. And I'm actually planning to make those videos with quite often 3 different camera angles. So the kind of the game capture display is going to be the center display. I have that on the capture card, recording that one. Then I have the overhead view with the GoPro here, and then I usually have with one camera tracking me, and I'm just trying to make high quality edited videos. So if that's something that seems to be interesting for you, please consider subscribing. And I think the bread and butter of this channel will be kind of everything revolving around my cockpit and stuff that I'm building for it, and then also going to play DCS, Star Citizen, perhaps also Flight Simulator 2020 occasionally. But I think that's enough of me yapping about stuff this time. So I think we could try to land this thing. I have tried this once before. I know it's doable, but I have no idea how it should actually be done. Well, okay, I have some ideas. I know there's a kind of on-speed AOA concept that you should keep the angle of attack at a certain angle and use your throttle, but that's something I don't know that much about. So what I'm going to do here is let's just lower the flaps, I guess, raise the air brake and start to get slower. Perhaps, like I said, I have no idea about the angles, the speed or anything. This time I'm just going to try to get this thing down in one piece, and as far as I understand these carrier operating planes, as long as you're doing just kind of a controlled crash, you should be fine. So let's see if I can land this thing in some way. I think I'm coming a bit too low, but well, let's see. So just lowering the RPM, flaps are full, should be at least. Make sure that the air brake is fully deployed. Just going to see if I can come to the end of the runway and perhaps flare just a bit and make this is not going to be a soft landing with this approach, but if I can walk out of it in one piece, it will be a successful landing. I would be happy with that. Oh, landing here. Yeah, that would be important. This is going to be a bit too long, but perhaps a bit rough landing, but hey, we're in one piece. at this point I'm just counting it as a success. And then some road braking. I think as far as I understand I should have anti-skid on. I most likely don't have it on, but it's something I should put on, so I think we're going to go for a handbrake turn soon. Again, well, as I've asked before, I think handbrake turn is perfectly acceptable way to stop Hornet, at least for your first landings. But hey, that was just the first test flight. It was actually interesting to try out. And if you're interested in joining me with my journey with the DCS, or just want to see what sort of stuff I come up with my cockpits, you really should consider subscribing. And also don't forget to check my new series about me actually building the new cockpit. It should be ready by the end of this year, so I have really interesting stuff coming out. Hey, thanks for watching and see you later.